This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Let's talk photos, not just storing them, showcasing them. You've got images that matter. Whether you're a photographer, a business updating your followers, or just someone who wants to share life's moments the right way. So why hand them over to Big Tech's one-size-fits-all cloud? Big Tech companies are the fast food of photo sharing. Quick, easy, but not exactly gourmet. And what about your data integrity? JAlbum.net is the photo sharing solution that puts you in control. Want to host images on your own server? You can. Want a layout that actually reflects your brand or style? JAlbum's customizability is unmatched. And if you're a business sharing regular photo updates with your audience, this tool was built with you in mind. But don't just take our word for it. Over 230 million web pages have been created with JAlbum, and it's got stellar reviews on Trustpilot to prove it. So head to JAlbum.net to download your free software and try it out. When you're ready to upgrade, use the code PODCAST for 20% off. Your photos, your layout, your rules. JAlbum.net.
And
the biggest muscle car party of the year is coming to the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, July 18th through the 20th. The Street Machine Nationals. Enter now for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets at KFAN.com keyword contest.
He's Tana. I'm Common. Will Raggets, he's local. He's been bouncing around the sports beat here for a long time. He writes for SI.com. He does football, basketball, the whole thing. And he has a piece that came out a few minutes ago. It says there was a report out there that the Timberwolves are among confirmed suitors for Bradley Beal. It says the Timberwolves are among a few confirmed. This is in parentheses or in quote marks. The Timberwolves are among a few quote confirmed suitors for 3-time All-Star shooting guard Bradley Beal. That's according to insider Jake Fisher of the Stein Line. Stein Line. Get in line with the Stein Line. Beal's expected to be bought out of his contract with the Phoenix Suns in the not-too-distant future, which will make him an unrestricted free agent. Here's what Fisher wrote. Some confirmed suitors for Beal include the L.A. Clippers, as well as the L.A. Lakers, Milwaukee, and Minnesota. Will goes on to write that Beal spent the first 11 seasons of his career with the Washington Wizards. He's 32 years old, by the way, making 3 All-Star appearances from 2018 through 2021. He twice averaged north of 30 points per game, including 31.3 in the 2021 season, which earned him the only All-NBA nod of his career. He signed a 5-year, $251 million max deal in the summer of 2022 and was traded to the Suns the following year. But his 2 seasons with Phoenix wound up being highly disappointing. Then the question of how does he fit here? Well, Wilbur, here's what it says. It's unclear how he would fit here, both from a financial and basketball standpoint. Assuming he's bought out, perhaps he'd be willing to take a low-level contract with his next team, knowing he's still being paid by the Suns. On the court, though, Beal would make sense next to Anthony Edwards, given on the court, though, would Beal make sense next to Anthony Edwards, given the two play the same position? He could potentially provide scoring punch off the bench as a replacement for Nah, although the Woods already have DiVincenzo. Without Rose in here, I don't know what to call him today. Let's go with DiVincenzo and Terrence Shannon Jr. The Clips may be the favorite in the end to sign Beal, but they think that a resolution is coming within the next couple of days. I'm thinking it's probably much ado about nothing. You know, again, with Timmy Connolly, the general manager, president of basketball operations, whatever title he carries nowadays, maybe carries them both, I don't know. I guess nothing would surprise you. His track record is, here in Minnesota alone, is, it's the word I would be looking for. It's eyebrow raising, right? I mean,
Sure.
He traded a slew of draft picks and players to acquire Rudy Gobert. I still remember the day it was announced. I said, I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm all in because the team has been so bad. I was willing to try anything, and it worked out pretty well. And then it was just prior to the season starting last year, before the start of the season, before, I think, a couple of days before training camp, which in the NBA is a very short camp. It's not like the NFL. They traded Big Meow became Bodega Cat. They traded him to New York for Julius Randle, DiVincenzo, and there's some other picks and such like that, maybe cash. I don't remember exactly what the whole deal entailed. But so I wouldn't be surprised to get Beal. But, and it's nice to have scoring punch, but I think most, the people that I trust, the people in the basketball community, I think would tell you, point guard's the spot. Mike Conley's 37. He can provide you minutes, quality minutes, but he's not I don't think he's a 40-minute-a-night guy anymore. It probably hasn't been for a few years. We don't know what we have with, is it Rob Dillingham would be the heir apparent to point guard if we decided to go in-house, right, when he'd be the guy? And no one is sure, and we won't be sure until we play. They must have liked him a lot because, if I'm not mistaken, they traded up 2 drafts ago to get to the 8th spot to get Rob Dillingham. So they must like him. But if you have title aspirations, which I think the Wolves should have, I think that's fair, right? You went to the Western Conference Finals back-to-back. See, now you got smoked both times. I think in both cases, wasn't it 4-1? We got beat by the Mavs and we got beat by the Thunder 4-1. But I would think certainly the fan base is, I think, expecting to take the next step. And sometimes even organizations are more optimistic than fans are even. I think we're a little jaded here in town now. Matter of fact, I expect them to, again, I'll do a preemptive. You know what? I think they're going to be really great. I think they're going to win the NBA championship. I almost expect them to take a step back, right? It's so Minnesota-like, right? It's like, okay, hey, man, 2 great years in a row. Let's go.
I mean, they kind of went step back in the regular season last year.
They did. They certainly did.
Still made the run in the playoffs.
So I don't know what to expect. If you're a team that's expecting to make a run, and as I say, I think the fans are and the team is, then I guess I would make it. It's probably a bit of a strained analogy, but I'll compare it to the Vikings situation at quarterback. They seem to have a lot of pieces in place, right? We all tend to agree. If the new defensive lineman and new offensive lineman in the interior part of the line in both cases, on paper it sounds good. If they're good, we're still depending upon a quarterback that we know had a great high school and collegiate career, but has zero shown us in the pros, other than he had that 1.5 stint against a bunch of other rookies and second stringers in that preseason game in which he was injured. So you're a team that went 14-3 last year, and you have high hopes that you're going to take that next step. You're counting on a kid who's never played in the NFL. Now, Dillingham's played some in the NBA, but it's been very sparingly, right? And so are you willing to say, okay, kid, it's all up to you now. Need you to be a big distributor and score and work hand in hand with hands and everybody else. And I don't know. I don't know if they're willing to do that. But I don't have anything in front of me right now that would let me know if there's anybody available via trade. I guess free agency is still going in the NBA, right? You can still sign people, right?
Oh, of course.
So I don't know if there's a point guard out there. I don't know. And I don't know if there's a really good one. And, of course, we want to stay under that luxury tax, that second apron. And I don't blame them. I mean, it's more than just the money. We've talked about it. Roster building is inhibited, if that's the right word. I don't know if I'm using that correctly. There are almost like punishments, okay? Not only do you have to pay the money, but we're not going to allow you to do this or that with your roster. And that can be counterproductive. So I don't know. I sort of like I feel with quarterbacks. I just want to throw them in there and let them play, right?
Yeah, let's see what you got.
Yeah, because we talked about, having your quarterback under that rookie deal, if he's good, is so advantageous to being able to put a lot of other high-priced players around him. And we discuss this all the time. You use the draft for your foundation of your team, and then you use free agency to supplement it. Well, if your quarterback's making, Burrow money or Josh Allen money, any of those high-priced quarterbacks, it's harder to supplement your club. The same thing with just let Dillingham play. I mean, you got to find out sooner or later. We discussed this during the regular season, where so many teams don't do much more than an 8-man, maybe 9-man rotation. Don't all rosters have 15 guys on them?
Yeah.
What do the other 6 do? Do they ever? It seems like they never play. Even in blowouts, they rarely get in. And then when they get in a blowout, it's just they're playing keep away. The team that's ahead is just dribbling the ball out to the shot clock, and the other team's just racing up and down the court to try to heave up some shots.
They get more of a look in the regular season.
Yeah.
But yeah, playoffs, you don't see a good chunk of them.
Well, even in the regular season, you don't see them too much,
a lot,
do you?
no.
And so I'd rather just throw them out there, play them, see what you got. I get it. If he struggles and his confidence, well, then if some struggles in learning the game at the highest level is going to crush your confidence and set you back, then maybe you weren't cut out to play in the league anyway.
Correct.
I mean, because I remember what Pete's coach said to him in 10th grade when he checked into a game. He said, have fun, relax, have fun, and don't be afraid to shoot. And Pete went out there and had a great game. He was a sophomore playing on a top 5 big school team in the state. Well, that wasn't even meant for that, but it's just like, that's a tough position to throw a kid into who hasn't played any varsity basketball. He was okay. He did it. He was fine. It's the same thing. I think Rob Dillingham's going to be fine. What are they going to do to Rob Dillingham to throw him completely off? Is he going to curl up in the fetal position and hide in the locker room?
You should know what's going on in year 2 more so than year 1.
So,
and he has the athletic ability.
He does, yes. So, I mean, if you can find a way to get in the Beal character, sounds like he hasn't played that well since, this is what it says. All-star appearances, 3 of them between 2018 and 2021. Twice averaged north of 30 points per game, including 31.3 in 2021. His 2 seasons with Phoenix wound up being highly disappointing. So it sounds like to me, his best days might be behind him.
I don't know about that with him because I'm looking at his stats. Like his overall points per game, down.
Okay.
But he's also not shooting as much.
Oh, okay.
Like his efficiency numbers in terms of field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, it's the same, if not better than most of his career. I think just in Washington, he had free reign to shoot whenever he wanted. And in Phoenix, he was kind of he was third in command behind Durantula and Devin Booker. So I think now that being said, the playoff series against the Timberwolves 2 years ago, I thought, and this guy's supposed to be like a third member of their big 3. Like I wasn't scared of him as a Wolves fan in that series.
Yeah. Well, if we can afford him and figure out a way to do it, and it's not my money.
But it also doesn't make sense that because the story said he could like take up that nah role.
Yeah.
If he's willing at a small amount of money to take up the nah role, I'd be all for it.
Right.
Why would he do that? Like he's getting up there in years, but he's not that old, and he's been pretty darn good throughout his career. He wants to start somewhere. He's not.
Yes,
he's not coming off the bench here.
I think you're spot on. Let's pause. Come back. Tenneby's got a keyword to try to put $1,000 in your hand.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword credit at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is credit. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Let's talk photos, not just storing them, showcasing them. You've got images that matter. Whether you're a photographer, a business updating your followers, or just someone who wants to share life's moments the right way. So why hand them over to Big Tech's one-size-fits-all cloud? Big Tech companies are the fast food of photo sharing. Quick, easy, but not exactly gourmet. And what about your data integrity? JAlbum.net is the photo sharing solution that puts you in control. Want to host images on your own server? You can. Want a layout that actually reflects your brand or style? J-Album's customizability is unmatched. And if you're a business sharing regular photo updates with your audience, this tool was built with you in mind. But don't just take our word for it. Over 230 million web pages have been created with J-Album, and it's got stellar reviews on Trustpilot to prove it. So head to jalbum.net to download your free software and try it out. When you're ready to upgrade, use the code PODCAST for 20% off. Your photos, your layout, your rules. jalbum.net.
Man.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program. I'm Common, he's 10 to B. Mark Rosen will make his triumphant return tomorrow just prior to 2 o'clock. The Brad Sean Bryant Holla Hotline, the KFAN text line at 64686 is blowing up. Do the kids still say that? Is it blowing up? Is it off the hook?
It's lit.
It's lit. It's what it is. Let's run a couple of them. This one says, Common 1,000 yards divided by 14 games was 71 yards per game. That would equate to 1,200 yards in a 17-game schedule. So I thought it would be 1,500. 1,200 just doesn't sound like a lot to me.
Well, even like 1,000, let's face it. Like, was 1,000 some great number to reach, or is it just because it's a nice even number?
I think it was because it was a nice even number.
It's the same thing why the pitch count is magically 100 in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Instead of 102.
I think that's
or
right.
97.
Here's one that says, Common, what upsets me is the Pohlads used taxpayer dollars for a new stadium and sold it by saying, you build it for us and we'll put the winning team on the field. They didn't say it exactly like that, but they did say we can't compete in the Metrodome anymore.
Yeah.
We don't generate enough income to compete. And so people thought, okay, we finally budged. Remember, the Twins bluffed a couple of times. Back when Carl was alive, he said they had a deal with Don Beaver. Now, that deal fell apart. Apparently, Beaver, I think maybe the taxpayers voted against building a stadium there. I don't know exactly why the deal fell through. And maybe the Pohlads, maybe Carl was seriously considering selling the team back then. I always had my doubts. I was skeptical. And the contraction of the team that's hogwash. That was never, ever going to happen. And we saw that. We threatened to contract. The Pohlads said, well, the Major League Baseball said, we're going to have to get rid of a couple franchises. And Carl apparently raised his hand and said, go ahead and contract us. And instead, they stayed, and Montreal just moved to Washington, D.C., so there were no elimination of teams at all. You don't eliminate teams in any of these leagues. You add teams. You don't eliminate teams.
Also, do you remember, this is just my own, I think it might have been your theory as well, but my theory, not that we can have it be proven, but remember the Twins actually had their payroll go down a little bit before they got to the new stadium.
Yes, I think that's exactly right.
So like 2007, their payroll was $71 million. Then 2008, it went back to 56. And in 2009, it was 56. So then when they opened the stadium in 2010 with their $97 million payroll, it looked like they made this big, huge jump, and it's all because we got Target Field here.
It's a shell game. They pulled the
And then a couple years later, they went down to like $82 million.
Right. Exactly. So that really had nothing to do with it. Here's one. I'm going to a Twins game in August only because they're having a country and western singer there. Because they do that, right? Where after the game, they'll have like a concert.
I'm going Friday to Nelly.
So Nelly will be...
Leo and I are going to be there Friday night.
So that's immediately following the game.
Yeah. Though the forecast doesn't look good. So.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how
hopefully,
they...
we haven't been to a Twins game this year, and that's the one we're going to go to.
James writes, I will go to one Twins game a year on average as a family experience, but I won't invest any time into following them unless the team is good. We do not owe the pro sports organizations and athletes anything unless they are willing to put out a product that's worth my investment of time and money, and God bless you, that's what I feel like too. People feel like, I've done that comparison all the time about new restaurant opens in your neighborhood, and you go to it the first time and the food's not very good. You go a second time, not only is the food not good, but the service isn't very good either. Do you keep going there over and over? Well, it's my hometown restaurant, got to keep going. You have to, well, I go, well, no, they're not providing me. The exchange I'm making, the amount of money I'm spending at the restaurant, I don't feel like I'm getting in. Much like when I went to the sandwich shop last week and I ordered a full sandwich and they gave me a half a sandwich. That's not fair. It's not what I paid for. And I know in sports, look, in any individual game, you never know what's going to happen, right? That's just the way it goes. Mm-hmm. You could see one of the most, you could see the greatest Game 7 of World Series history. Next time out, the hometown team could be down 10-1 after 2 innings. And you're going, wow. Sure, there's no... And
the star player might play this game, but he might not play the next game because of load management.
Right. So, but at least going into a season when you go, it looks like the team is putting forth some real effort here into fielding a competitive team, and oftentimes you don't see that. Steve writes, invest how much you want to pay ball players. Twins ownership are paying a fortune, and often the Twins players just sit. Triple the payroll would make no difference. How have the Mets done?
Huh?
Have you ever heard anything more preposterous in your life? First of all, they're not paying a fortune compared to all the other teams in the league. And a fortune is, it's all in the eye of the beholder, or what kind of money you behold in your bank account. It's walking around money for the Twins. Do people not understand? I've done that bit. Do you remember what it is? 1 million is like 12 seconds? No.
Yeah.
What is that number? And then 1 billion is like 32 years. When you're worth, the Polos are worth $4 or $5 billion, $137 million payroll? That's a drop in the bucket. It just is. You can say it's not, but it is.
1 million seconds is 11 and a half days.
And 1 billion seconds is 32 years. That's the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. Plus, I don't hear the Mets owner complaining. That's the thing. If he wants to spend the money, the fans are loving it in New York. It hasn't paid off yet, but at least the fan base goes, it ain't for a lack of spending money and trying and getting quality ball players.
And they are good this year, by the way.
And they are good.
52 and 30. Well, that's the thing is people love to do the old...
It's so ridiculous.
People love to do the old, they've spent this much money, how many championships they've won. Yeah. You know, only one team gets to win. Like, only one of the teams that spends lots of money can win every year. Like, they can't all win every year.
It's just, you'll never...
It's been proven that teams that spend more money win more games in Major League Baseball.
You'll never convince me that spending a lot of money doesn't give you a better chance to win. It just does.
How about those Athletics? They're 37 and 55 right now. Last place in the AL West.
Then Steve's trying to agitate. So the Twins should spend, but the Wolves should not, in order to avoid attacks. Again, he must not be paying attention. First of all, I've always said, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, go for it, right? Pay those penalties. In the NBA, there are no restrictions that I'm aware of, unless someone can show me that that the Mets don't get as many draft picks or as high a draft picks, or they have other restrictions on this or that. From as far as I know, you can spend $1 billion on your payroll. There is no punishment in any way, shape, or form. I don't think is there a payroll tax in Major League Baseball? I don't think there is. Now, I could be wrong, but I think it's apples and oranges.
I think there's a luxury tax at some point, but we ain't close to it.
But I think we're and how many times do I have to say it? I've never said the Twins should have the highest payroll every year in Major League Baseball. They don't even have to be amongst the top 10. But when you have a team, I guess Steve doesn't, and I think Steve's just trying to agitate. He just likes to be, he's one of those guys that likes to agitate. That's fine. It actually benefits me because when I get emails like that, it gives me a chance to vent and point out how preposterous they are. But coming off the year when they finally won a playoff series, And they seem to have a good nucleus, and then they cut their payroll. I guess that doesn't bother Steve. And deep down, I think people realize that by now. Deep down, I really don't care. I saw a World Series championship. 5 minutes after the greatest Game 7 World Series, I was on the field slapping big black Jack Morris on the back. But as a sports talk show host, employing the esoteric approach, I have to at least analyze the situation as I see them in front of me. And that's what I've just done. And I think I've analyzed it. I don't mind saying so myself. And I don't mind saying so myself. I think I analyzed it spot on.
I am curious. Have we heard anything about how their television numbers are doing? Now with the new Twins.tv thing? I feel like we haven't heard a thing.
Yeah, I've not either.
I'm curious how many people are actually paying.
Let's let somebody out there take a deep dive. That'd be great.
Yeah.
See if they can find that for us. We'll break. One last segment to go. It's the Common Man program on the Fan.
Tired of losing weight only to gain it all back? The weight loss experts at SlimRank.com have done the research. SlimRank.com ranks the safest, most effective GLP-1 programs that get and keep the weight off for good. Stop watching the scale go up and down. Go to SlimRank.com and pick America's #1 weight loss program today. SlimRank.com. That's SlimRank.com. Your dream body is just a few months away. SlimRank.com.
Segment of the Grum today. Tuesday brings Mark Rosen back into the studio just before 2 o'clock. Wednesday, 1:30. Rock Talk with Brian Oak. I'm Common. He is 10 to be. And, you know, the last thing I'll say on this on the Twins and the Pole lads and the like, I'm actually going to pass along a compliment. For as penny pinching as they are, they've fielded some pretty good teams over the past 20-some years, right? They've won some divisions. Imagine what they could do if they supplemented every once in a while. That's all any of us are saying. It's like, gosh, imagine what some of these teams could have done had they added one guy like, now this is a bit too much to ask, but like the Scooble guy for Detroit. You know, one of the better pitchers in baseball. Give us a top 5 pitcher, sign him, swallow hard, and give him the $125 million over 2.5 seasons or 3 seasons, whatever it is, and take a run at it. And then after you make the run and you fall short, or maybe, heaven forbid, you have a parade. But if you don't, then you go, you know what? Okay, we gave it a shot. We'll now just lay in the weeds, kind of develop our farm system some more. And then, hey, it looks like we got a pretty good club again. Let's go ahead and let's supplement it with some of the better free agents in baseball. I don't see how it can be more complicated than that. And I think that's the least you can ask from a team if you're in it to win it. And I think that's most ownership groups, in most sports are. And you know, going back to making the comparisons of the spending of the Twins and the Wolves or any of the other teams, all the teams that are in the salary cap leagues, I don't think we have to worry about them spending their money. I think most of them spend up to the cap. I don't think the Vikings or the Wolves have ever been way under where you go, what's going on here? Why are they being so cheap? There may have been some seasons in which they've done that, but I don't think it's ever been a major factor in the success or lack thereof with some of the other teams that play in those salary cap leagues. I watched soccer yesterday, Tennessee. Give me the murmuring crowd.
Oh my gosh. Above average.
My oldest boy, Deuce, who I created from my He played soccer. So yesterday was the Conquistador Cup. The
CONCACAF?
What is it called?
I don't know how to say it. I know it's spelled CONCACAF. CONCACAF?
We watched the CONCACAF Cup. And I told him, I said...
The Gold Cup.
Yeah, the Gold Cup. And I told him, I said, well, you know who's going to win, don't you? He goes, United States. I go, no, Mexico will win. That's just the way it works with. It just seems like any team I root for never does very well. But... Well,
especially U.S. soccer. On the men's side, at least.
Right. Well, that's it. I asked Deuce, I said, have they ever won the World Cup? And he said, I don't think so. Because they've never won the World Cup, have they? The men.
I don't recall them even making a run at it.
The women have won it, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Multiple times. The women are a powerhouse.
Yeah. And I think we scored I should be able to remember this because there's so few goals scored in the game. I think we jumped out to a 1-0 lead.
We did 3.5 minutes in.
Did you watch it?
So, watch the first 20 minutes.
Okay.
And had to go put kids up to bed. I had the game DVR'd.
Oh.
Come back down planning to watch the rest of it. I was going to watch the entire game. Wi-Fi out. No. And the Wi-Fi out's still out today. So we have to get that taken care of. But so I was not able to watch past 12. When I got done, U.S. was up 1-0. That's all I knew. Did
I just spoil it for you? Did you?
No, I've since read about it.
Okay. And then they scored a goal, and then they got.
So I did not see the controversial goal you're talking about.
Yeah, I told Deuce and I spend a lot of time mocking sports to entertain ourselves. We'll do these two teams don't like each other very much. It's gut check time. All the cliches, right? And I told him, I said, I will go to my grave always believing they were offsides on that game-winning goal. I don't even understand offsides. And
it's a little complicated.
If you're further than any of the other opposing players towards, I don't know.
They're their player that's the furthest back on the defensive side.
Right. And they checked it, and they ruled it was good. Now, you know what else Deuce told me about? You're kind of would you consider yourself a soccer aficionado?
No.
Okay. Have you ever heard of
Pele? Yes.
Well, I used that word yesterday. There was a kid playing for Mexico, 16 years old.
Crazy.
16 years old. And that's why I invoked the name Pele. I said, you know what I'm going to start calling him? Deuce, he said, what's that? I go, I'm going to start calling him Pele. But
it's weird to think that there's someone 6 years older than Leo who is playing on one of the greatest soccer teams in the world.
I'm trying to
with grown adults.
What was I just going to say about that? Oh, so here's what Deuce told me. Have you ever heard of the hand of God goal?
No.
So apparently Deuce said, and I'm not sure when it was the greatest soccer player of all time, was his name Messier?
Messi? Lionel Messi?
Messi. Messier is a hockey player.
Or is it Lionel Richie?
Maybe it's Lionel Richie. No, Lionel Richie is a hockey player. Played for the New York Islanders. So I think Messi or something. There was a goal. I think Deuce said this might have been, I think he made it up. Tell me if you've heard of it. The hand of God goal apparently was when Messi, or one of the great players of all time, made it.
Or Ronaldo.
Yeah, made it look like he was going to do a header, and instead hit the ball in with his hand.
Huh?
And they didn't have replay back then, and they scored it as a good goal because it looked like he had done it with his head. And they asked him afterwards, they said, dude, we saw the TV replay. And his response was, it was the hand of God that scored the goal.
I'm about to watch it. It looks like it's Diego Maradona.
Ah, that's who it is, Diego Maradona.
In the 1986 World Cup.
Yeah. Well, Deuce says it's legendary. Now, I'd never heard of it before. I didn't even know they had World Cup soccer back in 1986. I didn't even know soccer existed until recently. But apparently he made it look like he was going to do a header, and he used his hand, and they counted it. And I think that was the deciding goal. It was over. They won the World Cup on a goal that should not have been allowed.
That's impressive.
I have not seen it. So is it clear that he hit it with his hand?
Well, I mean, we're watching 1986, so the video is a little grainy.
Right.
So the ball's like going in the air towards the goal, and he like jumps up toward. He's one-on-one with the goalie at this time. He jumps up. I mean, it looks like he hits his. I don't know if he tried to hit it with his hand, but it looks like he did.
Yeah, and then they asked him about it. He said it was the hand of God. So I love the response. The hand of God.
Oh yeah, he so did. I just saw the last angle. Yeah, that was so intentional.
But they counted and they won the game because of it. The hand of God. So anyway, I actually watched it. I found myself, and I think I've said this before, I'm not that guy that I'm going to make fun of. It's such an easy target to pretend I hate soccer. It's boring. They never score. It's just a lazy game. When I say lazy, I mean as far as the action, ball goes up in the air into the back, then it goes back over here, and it goes back over there. But I don't mind it. I watch Deuce play for more games than I care to recount, right? But I don't mind soccer, but it's not my favorite sport. But is World Cup next year? It's not this year, is it? Is it 2020? They don't do it every year. Is it sort of like Ryder Cup? Is it every other year? You'll have to inform me because I don't know. I'm
assuming it's like every 4 years. Yeah,
is it every 4 years?
2026.
2026.
So next year. But even like this CONCACAF, is that every year? Is that every 4 years?
Now I'm getting ripped. Take that back. That game was not the World Cup final. Okay, I don't know what it was. It's just soccer. Don't get so worked up. So I don't. If you listen to this show, accuracy has never been anything we hang our hat on. I think it was an important, they're all important, right? It was an important soccer game. And it was the hand of God goal. That's all I know. Deuce threw him at the hand of God. Was it in World Cup? Well, I don't know. I thought it was World Cup final. I'm going to go with that anyways. It's every 4 years World Cup.
During the Argentina versus England quarterfinals match of the 1986 FIFA World Cup.
Okay, so it was a quarterfinal match. Okay, so they didn't win the whole thing. On that play, they may have went on to win the whole thing.
But they ended up winning the World Cup. Argentina did that year.
They did? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so the goal's name derives from Maradona's initial response and whether he scored it illegally, stating it was made, quote, a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God.
Oh, that's what it was. I like it. Paul says, almost makes me wish we could abolish all replay reviews. How back to the good old days where the call on the field stands no matter what, then we can have more hand of God moments. Yeah, I mean, you could make that argument. I still do like instant replay. And, that's a debate. It's split families apart like the Hatfields and McCoys. How much is too much? I've always been, if you can correct it with instant replay. I mean, you can't do holding in football. I know that because as the old cliche goes, you could call holding on every play. But, did the ball hit the ground? Was there face masking? I don't mind that they replay face masking. I like that. If they want to, because they do replay, don't they? Face mask or not? Or don't?
Not for face mask, I don't believe.
They don't. They should.
I don't know if they've changed that rule or not.
Face mask, you almost tear a guy's head off with a face mask. I don't mind having more.
All I know is if they had taken out replay, we might be talking about the Minnesota Wild Stanley Cup champions in 2025. The Gustav Nyquist.
Yes.
Offsides on the Ryan Hartman goal with under a minute to go in that game.
That's exactly right.
Would have given him control of that series against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah. Here's this argument. I knew I'd get it. Football's 10 seconds of action and minutes of waiting. Baseball, ditto. Soccer's 90 minutes of splendid athletic action. I'll take it any day. Knock yourself out, man. It teaches on.
But even on the U.S. goal last night, because they don't do replay, I don't know the names. The American player does the header, goes off the crossbar and goes straight down.
And
I'm guessing the call was right, but there was never like a conclusive look we got. They don't have the technology on the goal line like they do in tennis that shows whether that ball was completely over the line or not.
Well, the reason they don't have that in soccer is they have a finite amount of money. They can't have a camera there. It's a finite amount of money in that league. I know what he's saying about soccer. He says it's splendid athletic action. A lot of it is just, I'm just telling you, I've watched enough soccer, including yesterday, where there'll be a guy in the backcourt. Do you call it backcourt? He's in his own defensive end. Backfield. And you'll hit this big, high, long ball to his teammate. And then he'll kick it across. I mean, I know it's all strategic and such like that, but that's not that exciting to me. Football part of it. I mean, in soccer, I enjoyed watching the game. He's right. They've put a clock on the National Football League before. Like, in a 3-hour game, there's like 11 and a half minutes of actual action. But what I like about the NFLs are play. Then it's the build-up to what's going to happen next. We're going to run the ball here. We're going to pass the ball. We're going to blitz. We're going to do that. So there's always things to think about as the game's going on. Football's my favorite spectator sport. Absolutely, positively, 100%. And you'll never get me to change my mind. Ever. I
would like you, and I know you won't, I'd like you to attempt to watch a Savannah Bananas baseball game one time. Because I saw my first one Saturday. They were on ESPN Saturday night.
Okay.
And the ESPN or ESPN2. And we figured it was something like we've kind of already projected Samson to be a future Savannah Banana. That just seems like his personality style.
Why does this sound familiar to me? Did we talk about this once?
Well, we talked about it back when they were small, and now it's like a huge phenomenon.
Oh, really?
Savannah Banana, yeah. Like I said, they're at the point now where they're playing game. They're on a tour, playing games at Fenway Park on ESPN. I mean, they are huge now.
And what was the unique nature of it that caught our eye?
If you recall, like they were doing like dance moves and stuff, choreographed dance stuff going on, and that's the stuff that goes viral, especially with all the social media these days. But they were playing a team called the Firefighters. And it is as fast paced as like it's baseball on steroids in terms of the pace. I don't know. I don't know all the rules because it's the first time I was watching. I don't know if they have a pitch clock, but when that ball comes out to the pitcher, he is pitching again within like 3-4 seconds. Like he's not. They're keeping it as fast paced as possible. The innings are extremely fast. They have a different type of scoring system. They're intentionally like trying to do trick plays where they're catching fly balls behind their back. Like the baseball players, a lot of them have like their sleeves off.
Is this sort of Harlem Globetrotters for baseball?
Kind of, yes. Okay. So I'd be curious. Like they have rules that, like if you get walked, the guy who got walked will sprint to first base and round it because the other team has to have all 7 other players on the field other than the pitcher and catcher touch the ball before they can throw you out at second base. So, they're making walks exciting, right?
Someone's saying it's absolutely elite, and he has elite capitalized. He loves it too.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
My wife actually looked, because they're coming here to CHS Field. My wife looked at the tickets and they were all like $400 a piece. So, not going to attend, but.
Well,
but I'd be curious what you thought of it, just because they are completely thinking out of the box from a baseball standpoint. It's not for baseball purists, but it's fast paced. There's always action.
I'll give it a try.
Like the fans in the stands can catch a fall ball, and it's an out.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I will. This one says, Savannah Bananas are really fun to watch. It's the way baseball should be played. Everything keeps moving. I can't believe doesn't even know who they are. Everybody knows who they are right now. They sold out Fenway Park. Well, dude, we knew about it before they became a big deal. We talked about it about a year or 2 years ago, whenever it was. So I do know.
It's completely blown up.
Yeah, I recognize the name, but and just because I do know who they are, but I didn't know who they are, if that makes sense. And you know what? Just because everybody loves something doesn't mean everybody has. Just because it's a gimmick, I suppose I'll watch it, be all right. I'm not. If you like it, knock yourself out.
But I think the Harlem Globetrotters analogy is a good one.
Yeah. And I took the voice of the Harlem Globetrotters before. And I like watching Harlem Globetrotters, but once or twice is enough for me. Much like the Savannah Bananas, I suppose I'd watch it once and maybe twice, and that'd be it. I don't think. What was even better, Deuce and I he was channel surfing early yesterday, and they were showing some cornhole championship.
Yeah.
And they show one of the guys, and they show him, he's pumped up after something, and then they show his slow motion reaction. He's like this. He's like, or he's got this grimace on his face, and he's pumped, and they're showing it in slow motion. I'm thinking for cornhole. Instant replay of obvious reaction. It was just too good. Deuce and I.
Those guys are good, by the way.
Yes, they're very good. Deuce and I yesterday actually spent. I don't know which channel he found it on, but somebody's doing a Gilligan's Island marathon, all 3 seasons. However, I think that's 98 episodes. We've recorded every one. We watched the first 4 yesterday. We're going to watch them all. I think they get rescued eventually at the very end, I think, but I'm not sure. We'll have to watch a few. We'll have to watch a few more episodes to see if that happens. Now other people are ripping bananas are an embarrassment, spilling into youth baseball now.
Well, I can see that as well.
Yeah. It's too Why would we end the show with a controversial topic like the Savannah Bananas? I blame it on you. You're the producer.
I want you to watch one of their games and tell me what you think.
You led me in that direction. Okay, I'll go ahead and do it. I enjoyed our visit with you. Timmy, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We're back tomorrow, 12 noon. Don't forget, Rosen joins us just before 2 o'clock. Big Ticket, JG, they're both back there next here on The Fan.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota!
Good night, folks, and good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Well done, young man!
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.